Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah, good to be back.
Today we're going to be talking about a book that's been getting a lot of buzz. It's The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. And I have to say, even the title itself is really intriguing, right?
Absolutely. It kind of hints at something that's often overlooked, I think, in personal finance. We often get caught up in the numbers and the strategies, but this book dives deeper into like the human element of money.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we're all about here, taking a look beyond just the how-to and really getting into the why behind our decisions, especially when it comes to something as loaded as money.
I mean, think about it for a second. How many times have you made a financial decision based on emotion rather than logic? Like maybe you bought something you didn't really need because it was on sale, or maybe you panicked and sold investments when the market dipped.
Oh gosh, yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
I'm definitely guilty of that impulse buying thing.
Housel argues that this is totally normal, like it's baked into our psychology. And the crazy part is these emotional responses to money are often rooted in our personal histories, our upbringing, even our cultural background.
I think that's fascinating, like how our individual experiences shape our beliefs about money without us even realizing it.
Absolutely. I think one of the most compelling parts of the book is how Housel uses stories to illustrate his points. Like there's this crazy story about Rajat Gupta. Do you remember him?
Oh yeah, he was like this super successful businessman, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like a Wall Street superstar. He was the managing director of McKinsey and Company, top of his game. But then he gets caught up in this insider trading scandal and ends up going to prison.
It's like a classic tale of greed and ambition gone wrong. You would think someone like him with all that success and wealth wouldn't need to take those kinds of risks.
And that's exactly Housel's point. It's not always about logic or rationality. Our emotions, our desires, they can override even the most sound financial planning.
So, okay, if our psychology plays such a big role in our financial decisions, what can we do about it? I mean, can we even control these deep-seated emotions?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, right? And Housel doesn't offer any quick fixes, but he does provide a framework for understanding ourselves better. Like one of the key concepts in the book is this idea of accepting the role of luck and risk.
You mean like acknowledging that we don't always have complete control over our financial outcomes?
Exactly. We love to attribute success to hard work and skill, but Housel argues that luck plays a bigger role than we like to admit. And the same goes for risk. Sometimes bad things happen, even to good people who make smart decisions.
So how does that help us? I mean, isn't that kind of a depressing thought?
Well, it can be, but I think it's actually liberating in a way.
Hmm.
Because when we recognize the role of luck, both good and bad, it takes some of the pressure off. It allows us to be more humble in our wins and more forgiving of ourselves in our losses.
That makes sense. So it's about managing expectations, right? Understanding that there are forces outside of our control, and that's okay.
Right. It's about being realistic and having a long-term perspective. One of the things Housel talks about is the power of compounding returns. He calls it the eighth wonder of the world.
That's a pretty bold
But
statement.
it's true. The idea is that small, consistent investments over a long period can lead to exponential growth. It's like planting a seed and watching it grow into a tree. It takes time and patience, but the results can be incredible.
And I think what's really cool about that analogy is that it applies to so much more than just money. Like think about personal growth or learning a new skill. It's the same principle, right? Consistent effort over time leads to the big results.
Absolutely. And that ties into another important concept in the book, the idea of defining enough.
Yeah, I was wondering when we'd get to that because honestly, it's something I struggle with myself. Like how much is enough? When do we reach that point where we can finally relax and enjoy what we have?
Right. It's such a tricky question. And Housel argues that many people never actually figure it out. They're always striving for more, always chasing the next big thing. And he uses examples of super wealthy individuals who, despite having more money than they could ever spend, are still miserable.
Because they never stop to define what enough meant for them.
Exactly. And I think this is such an important message, especially in today's society, where we're constantly bombarding with messages about accumulating more stuff, more money, more
It's
status.
like we're on this endless treadmill of consumption and achievement.
And Housel argues that true wealth isn't about how much money you have in the bank. It's about having control over your time and your choices.
So basically freedom.
Yeah, exactly. The freedom to do what you want when you want without being beholden to a job or a boss or a pile of debt.
Now that's a definition of wealth I can get behind.
And the irony is that by focusing on building true wealth, on having enough, you're actually more likely to make sound financial decisions. You're less likely to be swayed by emotions or impulsive desires.
It's like that saying, the best things in life are free.
Exactly. And one of the final points Housel makes is that when it comes to money behavior, trumps knowledge.
Meaning, it's not just about knowing what to do, it's about actually doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
You can have all the financial knowledge in the world, but if you can't control your impulses or manage your emotions, you're going to make bad decisions.
So it's kind of like self-awareness is key.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
that's why this book is so valuable. It forces you to examine your own psychology, your own relationship with money, and it provides tools and strategies for making better decisions.
So if someone's listening to this and thinking, okay, this all sounds great, but I'm not sure where to start, what would you say is like the first step?
I'd say the first step is simply acknowledging the role that psychology plays in your financial life. Start paying attention to your emotions when you're making money decisions. Are you feeling anxious, excited, fearful?
So basically start by being more mindful.
Exactly. And from there, you can start to identify patterns and triggers. And once you understand your own psychology better, you can start to make more intentional choices.
I love that.
Mm,
It's all about taking control of your own narrative, right? When it comes to money and really in all aspects of life.
absolutely. And that's ultimately what this book is all about. It's about empowering yourself to make choices that align with your values and your goals.
Well said. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive, but I really encourage everyone listening to check out The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. It's a thought-provoking read that will definitely change the way you think about money.
I completely agree. It's one of those books that stays with you long after you've finished reading it. And I think anyone who's interested in personal finance or just wants to understand themselves better will find it incredibly valuable.
All right, folks, until next time, happy reading and happy investing.
Take care, everyone.
See ya.